Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're taking a look at this ugly son of a gun. This is the Sniper Bladeworks DMF. And this particular version, as far as I could tell, is a Battlbox exclusive. Most of these knives are made with different materials. We'll go into the materials here in a little bit. And this one, that's a Battlbox collaboration, is a little bit cheaper than some of the other versions. So, this is a really cool knife. We've got a lot to say about this guy, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Start off with our blade length measurements. Coming in here at 3.6 inches, we'll call it. Get here on the screen. So, definitely not a small knife. And in fact, I mean, just the overall chunkiness of this knife is almost 2 inches tall. You know, he's a big boy. So, size comparisons. We're at 2. We're at 1. So you can see here, yikes. The Rat 1's blade is blinding you with the sunlight. Can't look at it. So what we can see here is lengthwise, it's pretty similar to the Rat 1. But it's quite a different beast, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, let's bring up our Flagship Comparisons. There's a bug out for you. PM2. So again, lengthwise, not that much off of the PM2, but again, entirely different beast. Okay, next up, let's get our Cervivis. I think I don't know what I said there. There's the Elementum, the Praxis. Again, basically Praxis length, give or take a little bit. But yeah, very unique looking knife. I'll say that. There are very few other knives out there that look anything close to this. And you might think that's a good or a bad thing. Next up, let's compare it against some of my other favorite hard use folding knives. There's the Formax Scout from Cold Steel. Finally, something to dwarf the DMF. And here is the 8015 from Cold Steel as well. There we go. Alrighty. So, what are we looking at here materials-wise? Well, I think most versions of this knife come with S30V blade and titanium with different materials in the titanium, I think. I don't know. This version here, this is a steel frame lock, carbon fiber insert, steel clip. And this blade is 1095 carbon steel. Yeah, that's pretty wild, isn't it? So, yeah. Definitely a very unique piece. Anyways, let's take this very interesting knife and go and do some cutting with it. I took this knife to work with me a lot, actually, out in the woods. But I didn't get to record too much footage, so we might do a little bit more than just the cardboard cutting that I normally do. We'll see. But, yeah. Let's go do it. Okay, so let's start off with our obligatory cardboard carnage. Here we go. So, first of all, let's talk about the blade. Very unique shape here. I would call this a sheep's foot clip point, I guess. Very interesting. As you can see, it's a compound grind, which is interesting. The main section here is about 20 thousandths behind the edge. So, perfectly respectable, perfectly acceptable thickness, right? And then up here at the tip, it's 60 thousandths behind the edge. So, yeah, you can do some interesting stuff. You know what? We're going to do things a little bit backwards today. Before we get into the cutting, let's go ahead and talk about the action. So it's running on phosphor bronze washers, which I like for hard use. And in terms of deployment, you have these big studs here, which also double as the blade stops. So, thumb stud, you can use them as thumb studs, and that works. You also have this hole here, and this works to reverse flick it. The action is good. It's not fidgety. And in fact, if you play with these thumb studs too much with your bare hand, they do take a toll on your thumb. While I was at work though, wearing gloves, this knife was very easy to deploy, very satisfying, and I had no problems with it at all. But yeah, there's the action. How does it carry? Here's the clip. I'm not a big fan of the clip. In fact, when I first got it, the clip had a lot of wiggle, so I adjusted it down, and when I did that, you can see the clip kind of lifted up and doesn't connect anymore. But, I mean, it goes in and out of the pocket, and it stays. You know, the knife is so heavy that it just basically wants to fall down to the bottom of your pocket because of gravity. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think you're in really any danger at all of losing it. So, I never lost it in the woods, so that's a good thing. All right, how are the ergos? Amazing. Amazing. So you can hold it here, kind of this pistol grip, which is very comfortable. This knife, this wonky looking handle just contours to my hand so nicely. You also have this nice big choil up here. You can choke up in there, and this little area on the blade is a great place for your thumb to go for those nice detailed cuts. Very, very good ergos. Okay, now we will cut. Let's do our cardboard box. You know what? Actually, we're going to push that back on the table. There we go. Set this box here for a second. Adjust. There we go. Is it a slicer? No, ma'am. But it does cut. The one thing, if you're doing long cuts like this in cardboard, like I'm trying to do, you really do want to push. I don't want to show off any information. You really do want to push just straight down, basically, because you don't want to get this big fat portion caught in your cut. Because if you get that big fat portion in there, it will not cut. This knife might also be a little bit dull right now. Yeah, oof. You might want to sharpen him up. I had not realized that he was this dull. Yeah. Yep, taking him to work will take its toll. So let's get an edge put on this guy, and then we'll go do some other stuff. Alright, we're finally finished sharpening it. And yes, I know I'm sitting in the shade right now, but that's okay. There were complications with the sharpening that we will talk about during the review. This is the second time I've sharpened this one. Not a real pretty edge on it, actually. But, you know, it's... If you don't catch the choil, it's sharp. It will catch a little bit going up over that, from the 20 thousandths to the 60 thousandths. That's quite a transition. 20 thousandths behind the edge to 60 thousandths behind the edge. Hold my tore up paper right. So, yeah, it's sharp enough for the rest of the review. Which, let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll get just the rest of the cutting I was wanting to show off. And then we'll get back to the tabletop. So, look here at my little improvised deal. Ooh, look, some cord. So, that 60 thousandths thick tip is really good for popping popping zip ties, if you get them right. Trying not to cut the rope here either. We will be cutting the rope, just not right now. Alright, there we go. Get that out of the way. Velcro thing off. So I find that the blade's kind of interesting. That it allows you to kind of do these kind of rolling cuts. You know, the back of the handle can get caught sometimes, but oh geez, all my paper's blowing everywhere. You know, you can come down on things like that. Move this cardboard. This little white table was made for this. So there's the thick tip. Let's move on back to kind of the thinner section. All right, there we go. Let's go finish up this review, shall we? Alrighty, so let's get into what I like and don't like about this knife. So, first of all, on the likes, I'm going to start with the ergonomics, because this knife is super ergonomic. This is, without a doubt, one of the most ergonomic knives in my collection. You know, right here where you're choked up, this is a great place for your thumb to sit. The jimping here, which, by the way, is very unique jimping. But functional. You can put your thumb there when you choke back here, and this just fits your hand like a glove. This pistol grip type handle is really, really nice. Furthermore, with the choil here, yes, excuse the ugly sharpening. I was experimenting with something. They give you protection from the edge. We'll talk about this little area here in a little bit. But, yeah, not the best. But anyways, this right here, this protection from the edge, that is very, very nice. Next thing I like is a stone wash on the blade. This is a really, really nice stone washing. Really, really helps to just kind of take some of that abuse that you might put this knife through. The lockup, nice and solid. Still pretty early. It's got plenty of room to travel over. It's nice. The access to the lock is good. Disengagement's easy. No complaints there. The action is good. A lot of people aren't going to like this action. It's very smooth and consistent, but it is not fidgety at all. So I like the action. Next thing, this knife is just very tough, and it really can take a beating. I do like this blade. This 20 thousandths behind the edge area is really, really nice. It is actually hollow ground, which is interesting. You have this little tip up here. I demonstrated in the cutting, going through some zip ties. That was not the best example, I'll fully admit. What it's better at is if you have like a zip tie like on a pallet or pallet straps, crunching down on them like that, which is pretty nice. So yeah, there we go. Out of the box, it was centered and everything. Whoops. Like I said, solid lockup, no problems. Do like that it has external stops. As to the strength, like this knife is solid. So solid. And next thing I like is the price. You know, this takes a knife that is normally very expensive and makes it a lot more affordable. These range from between $80 and $90. And you know what? I think that price is okay. I would like to see a little bit cheaper, but you know what? I think it's okay. Finally, oh, by the way, with the blade, I forgot to mention the 1095, I think was a good choice. Very tough. For a working knife, it was a good choice. Anyways, the last thing that I like about this knife is just how gosh dang unique it is. Like, I have never seen anything like this, except for this knife. It looks distinctive, we'll say, And the 1095 blade on a folder, you know, that steel is usually used in fixed blades. I just appreciate this knife for the uniqueness. So yeah, that's what I like about this knife. So what do I not like? Well, it is very heavy. First of all, it's very heavy. I'm not someone that cares that much about weight, but even this guy is a little bit heavy. But it doesn't carry awful. Ironically, it does carry, in my opinion, a little bit worse than the Formax Scout, but the Formax Scout's just an anomaly. Next thing, I'm not a big fan of this carbon fiber. It's kind of that cheapy looking carbon fiber stuff. Don't like it. And the backside of this knife is so plain and ugly. Speaking of the backside of this knife, this clip I'm not a big fan of. You can see there, when I first got it, it was connecting, but the clip was just wiggling all over the place. So I tightened it down, and it did this. Not a big fan of that at all. Ergonomically, the clip is excellent. It's nice and big and flat, but as far as clips go, it's not my favorite at all. Not at all. Next thing, fidgeting with this knife, or just opening it in general, these thumb studs are very sharp. If you just sit here and play with them a lot, you will mess up your finger, or build up a callus like I have. But when you're wearing gloves, like I was a lot at work, it was just very easy to keep doing that. The reverse, next thing, that this hole, you cannot really... Okay, never mind, I lied. You can use it to thumb open it, to slow roll thumb open it, and it's actually really easy. Okay, so yeah, that's... If you don't want to hurt your thumb, yeah, that's a good way to open it. The reverse flick works. I mean, you gotta give it just a little bit of wrist, but it works. So, yeah, thumb studs being sharp, that's the bad thing. Next bad thing, and this is the big bad. No sharpening choil. So, while sharpening this knife this last time, as you can see, I kind of messed it up. I will fix that later. But after I did the cutting footage and stuff, I decided to go back and try to sharpen again because I couldn't sharpen back here. Later, I'm going to cut in a sharpening choil. The thing is just trying to get the knife to go right to sharpen in there. Anyways, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by a phone call, this is a big problem. So I sharpened this knife before, and I did it on a rod-based system, and I just kind of went at it. When I sharpened it this last time on the flat stones, this was turning into a little bit of a recurve. So I stopped sharpening. I did the little rope cutting, whatever. And then afterwards I stopped filming and I went back and I was trying to see if there was a way that I could sharpen this knife where I could get the entire edge. That's why this is so wonky. But yeah, what I'm going to do is cut in a sharpening choil there. Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, that's it. That's what I have to say about this knife. Final conclusions. Look, this isn't a knife for everybody. Okay? In fact, when I got this knife, I thought it wouldn't be a knife for me. And in fact, there's a lot of things about this knife that I don't like. I will have to fix that. I don't like the clip. It's ugly. It is so ugly. That's something we could put in the negatives. I mean, this is just so ugly. But the more I used it, oh, by the way, this nice thin lock bar cutout, that's cool. Anyways, but as I carried this knife and as I used him at work, out there in the woods, putting him through his paces, using him hard, I realized that when you boil it down, this knife is just a damn good user. And that's what I'm going to leave this review at. If you're wanting a knife that can just take an absolute beating, this is it. Look, the ergos on this knife are so good. They are so good. That was something that I noticed a whole bunch. It's just how excellent the ergonomics were. And it made this knife such a joy to use. If you're using gloves, again, you can flick that knife out all day long. Even without gloves, though, the action has broken in very nicely. It's on bearings, but the detent is nice and snappy. Or not bearings, it's on washers. My bad. But it's just such a good, hard-use knife. yes, I would highly recommend you fix this area. This is kind of a problem area. I'm going to fix it. I'll cut in a sharpening choil. Maybe I'll make a video about it. I don't know. But, yeah, look. If you just want a strong knife to put through hell, I can point you in this direction. This is one of those knives where if someone were to ask me, do you recommend the Sniper Bladeworks DMF? I would say, what do you want to use it for? If someone's saying, well, you know, I just think it looks cool and, you know, I just want to kind of get it and, you know, EDC it, I would say, no, go ahead and pass on it. I feel like if you're buying this just for the looks, there'll be a lot of things that kind of disappoint you as far as the collecting perspective goes. If you're buying this just for, you know, carry to church, again, no, pass on this. But if you just want a knife to throw around, beat around, take to the woods, go camping with, leave it in your garage for heaven knows what ever might happen that you might need a knife for, yeah, absolutely. I don't think this is a bad choice at all. Another negative that I forgot to mention is, you know, 1095 does rust, but easily, but you know, I kind of feel like I didn't have to say that. You know, take care of your knife and I'll take care of you. Keep it oiled up and stuff. Mine has developed a little bit of a patina. I don't mind that so much. I do have a little spot of rust here, but it's just surface rust. I can take that off. But yeah, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.